Look, so everybody, this is real footage. My name is Melly, and I'm gonna turn myself in, but I'm in a suitcase because they arrested me, and I had to get on a private jet, and I don't want them to see me.
The PZ Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly count says what?
After that, SHHHH.
And could you please stand and point on the right side of the screen exactly which part you're saying where the YNW Melly account says, "I did that"?
I did that. This is the thread ID. This is the text. This is the author. And this is the recipient. Okay, come down here, same thing.
You see him? Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! The dog still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.
With evidence being prepped for YNW Melly's retrial on October 9th, the evidence found on YNW Melly's cell phone is going to be a focus point for the prosecution. Sources claim YNW Melly's cell phone alone will make him look extremely guilty. Forensic evidence aside, all of the cell phone evidence against YNW Melly that was gathered by Mark Moretti was all gathered in a pretty disturbing way. To obtain YNW Melly's cell phone, he had to go directly to 100K Track, aka YNW Melly's manager. Mark Moretti then told him that he has to hand over Melly's cell phone within 48 hours or he'll be arrested and kicked out of the United States.
Did you, as a trained investigator, Jameson Francois to be deported to Haiti, even though he's been in this country since 5 years?
Yes, sir.
Did you, in fact, that he would not get fed and get any medicine in the jails?
I don't know about that in the conversations.
Do you think a witness who tells you something that you don't like really gets to the truth?
Objection, Your Honor, relevant.
When you questioned Jameson Francois, were you alone? Or did you bring immigration officers with you?
We were at the Chrome Detention Center, so of course the immigration officer had to be.
As YNW Melly's lawyer was yelling at Mark Moretti on the stand. This is due to the most questionable police work YNW Melly's lawyer has ever seen. As why this is so important is because 100K Track had to give Mark Moretti Melly's cell phone or else he'd be kicked out of the United States. That cell phone contained 90% of the evidence that the prosecutors are using against YNW Melly. On that cell phone, it contained incriminating text messages between Melly and his girlfriend.
Moving on to Friday, November 9th, 2029, 20 UTC, 2018. Message from Melly, Montana to, again, that baby. What does that one say?
You don't with me anyways. I peeped it. You can slide, but God knows I wasn't in her and real breaking. You spoiled everything was given to you. You act like a some slide. I keep Borton with cuz at the
Not to mention the evidence that was found on YNW Melly's phone of him admitting to doing the crime.
The PZ Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly count says what?
After that, SHHHH.
And could you please stand and point on the right side of the screen exactly which part you're saying where the YNW Melly account says, "I did that"?
I did that. This is the thread ID. This is the text. This is the author. And this is the recipient. Then you come down here, same thing. The ID is for the actual message, which is just specific that one message. Then the thread ID is the actual continuing message.
As Mark Moretti went through all of YNW Melly's personal photo albums, video albums, text messages, and even Snapchats, where they would also find, saved in his notepad on his cell phone, a Facebook live video link of YNW Melly and Bortland 8 hours after the crime was done.
You see him? Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! The dog still turned regardless of what happened. You already know.
As in legal terms, going through YNW Melly's cell phone and finding all of these videos in court documents is known as a criminal interview, as the prosecution are gonna make a compilation of all of the videos found on YNW Melly's cell phone and display them in a disturbing way to the jury to make Melly look guilty. This then brings us to today. Jamie King, aka YNW Melly's mother, then sent in documents against Mark Moretti due to an incident that occurred between them. In a statement this week that reads, "We received a complaint by an attorney representing Jamie King. King is the mother of Jamel Demmons, the given name of YNW Melly. YNW Melly's lawyer filed a motion in his case seeking Brady material against the detective. Brady material refers to information that could be used to question the integrity of law enforcement officers who all testify in criminal cases." It continues reading, "Details about the encounter between Melly's mother and Moretti were not available Thursday with one exception. While the incident took place on October 12th, 2022, the complaint was not filed until this month, as allegedly YNW Melly's mother was called in for an interrogation interview. Once arriving to the jail, Mark Moretti wanted YNW Melly's mother's cell phone for evidence. However, she knew what Mark Moretti did with YNW Melly's cell phone, so she was not going to just give it up. This then caused Moretti to get quite angry, which then led to Moretti trying to grab Jamie King's cell phone from out of her hand. Using force, this then caused an injury to occur to Jamie's hand, as let me take you back around 7 months ago. January 2nd, YNW Melly's mother and YNWB Slime were on a no-jumper interview, where Jamie King can be seen with a cast around her hand, where Adam22 would then ask about it and what happened, where she would then mention a police officer was responsible, not wanting to get into full details so she can use it for a future case such as this. She expressed that it was somebody at a Broward Sheriff's Office and that he was a high-up ranking officer. Now, this situation had become so bad to the point where Boosie even went on to share this week.
Okay, so
then I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a...
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
As Jamie King has had a huge involvement throughout YNW Melly's trial and his upcoming retrial, Mark Moretti and the families of Sack Chaser and Juvie know if you want to get the worst out of YNW Melly, mess with his mother. And this is exactly what they've been doing, where we would learn that YNW Juvie's sister allegedly reached out to YNW Melly's mother on social media.
What's been going on in the courtroom?
Well, Anjanette, it's been a very interesting morning. It did start off earlier with the defense bringing up an issue. Apparently, Juvie's sister posted on, I guess, one of the social media outlets, and she said that she was going to Jamie King, and so that caused a big, issue in the courtroom. It wasn't anything that we got on tape, but it did happen this morning. It was on the record, and she has a bodyguard now. So that was one of the first issues that the court dealt with this morning, and it was interesting because the judge did basically say, if you needed more security, I can get it for you. Ultimately, it was determined that the security she had, the bodyguard, was going to be enough. So
now, shout out to Reddit, because we had to do some digging to find the sister. Now, this is the sister, Ashley Monique. And let me show you the post that she had posted on Facebook, because, honey, it was quite the stir. So she posted this screenshot from Jamie King, YNW Melly's mother, and she said, "Pest control, who called about?" Now, that was in regards to a post made by Trayvon Glass on his Instagram page, where he basically said that he's not worried about anything, and if he's come him. So in a nutshell, Melly's mom is calling Trayvon Glass a, and Monique replied back and says, "A is when you do something wrong and not take responsibility and then go and set somebody up because you're scared to lay down." She goes on to say, "That's not the case here. Fetty was Juvie's friend, not Melly. He was only around because Juvie brought him." Now in the comments, somebody says she better find something safe to do. Another person replied back and says, "Very well said." Another person tagged Jamie, and somebody else said, "Come get." Now, Ashley was in the comments and says, "She even has a bodyguard, child." Another person replied and says, "Yeah, she need one because she's talking like she's 200 pounds and she ain't even pushing 100. Now, somebody else posted this and says, "She's going to need them because she in the wrong city talking." Now, I think that when Melly's defense attorneys found this, they submitted it over to the judge and basically was like, "Juvie's sister's out here Melly's mom." Now, the judge did state that if Melly's mom needed security, he would issue her security, and then he found out that she had a bodyguard, and that would be sufficient enough.
That social media interaction then caused YNW Melly's mother to now have 24/7 security anytime YNW Melly has a court hearing. This has made YNW Melly extremely concerned for his mother. Melly has been seen looking very emotional in and out of the courtroom. However, he finally looked relieved when the judge would finally announce security for his mother.
Jury entry.
The trial in general took a massive toll on YNW Melly's mother. She was seen always looking very concerned and even calling Melly on the jail phone after trial dates. Which is why during trial, we would even see YNW Melly asking his mother if she's okay multiple times inside of the courtroom.
Sorry.
We'll just don't do it.
However, it now seems as if YNW Melly is under the most stress, as Melly's trial date has now been set for October 9th. This retrial is not going to end the same way as his main trial did, as this leaves YNW Bortland's trial to start on October 2nd all by himself. Sources reveal the state is doing this in a way to give Bortland a chance to make a plea deal, as that week's worth of trial before Melly's begins is going to be structured in a way to give Bortland a chance to make a plea, go on and tell the truth of what happened to Sack Chaser and Juvie, as the state is very smart in doing so. They realized that after the YNW Melly mistrial was granted, Bortland went on and tweeted something for the first time in 2 years.
And ladies and gentlemen, the juror inquiry form, it indicates that after further discussions, reviewing the evidence and speaking freely amongst the jurors, we are still unable to reach a unanimous decision. So at this time, what I'm going to do is just declare a mistrial. The case was mistried, and again, I want to thank you very much for your time and attention. It's very much appreciated. You're free to go. All right, score now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
YNW Bortland tweets a mysterious message on the same day Melly's mistrial was declared. The tweet shares, "Mind games don't work on people like me," alongside a handshake emoji, as originally the state was trying to have YNW Melly and Bortland's trial together, meaning that Melly and Bortland would be sitting beside each other inside of the courtroom facing the case as a team. However, one lawyer would go on to explain why this would have been a slam dunk for the prosecution.
Issue here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
The judge would then go on to deny that idea of trying them together. So the state said instead, all right, Melly's trial will begin a week later. As YNW Bortland knows that Melly's lawyers were playing mind games with the jury throughout his entire trial, making it seem as if Bortland was the guilty one. And now Bortland was even subtweeting the mind games phrase with a handshake emoji as if he's going to accept some sort of deal. 15 minutes into day one of YNW Melly's trial, YNW Melly's own lawyer, who he has since fired, went on and stated that YNW Bortland was the one with powder residue on his hands and much more.
Demon's lies, those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket. Not Cortland Henry. There were 3 phones.
As that is Melly's lawyer revealing that Bortland was always the one telling the lies to the feds, he was the one with powder residue on his hands, and he was the last one with Sack Chaser and Juvie on that night. As this wouldn't even be the end of Bortland's evidence getting brought up either. We would see a forensic scientist that covered the passings go into further detail on Bortland having the powder residue.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of SL.R residue and 2 component particles, and the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of SL.R residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was SL.R residue present on the hands.
As shortly after, YNW Bortland would then be brought into the courtroom and given his court date for October 2nd.
Cortland Henry?
Yes, sir. He's present.
That you
Put
and
back
Mr.
to status
Davis?
conference.
Come on up.
And I guess you're already trial to go to second round. No. We're set for October 3rd for trial.
You had a motion pending as well?
Yes, Judge. As the court, when we were here the last time, you let him go to church and stuff, you said about working, you would be subject to seeing his schedule. We filed a schedule for the next couple of months.
I saw that.
Be able to work. And I talked to his probation supervisor. She has no problem with him at all. She said that if he's going to go to work, she'd like anybody has to do, provide an itinerary, where he's going to be, how he's going to get there, how it's going to get done.
As ever since YNW Melly was originally arrested in 2018, it's been the YNW group's main priority to make Melly look innocent, as he is the main breadwinner in the YNW group. As even in the lawsuit against YNW Melly, which reads, Defendant 100K Track assisted Melly and Bortland with the collection and the disposal of the firearm that was used to commit the crime, as this heavily favors YNW Melly getting rid of the firearm that was allegedly used. But it does nothing for YNW Bortland, as there is hard-hitting evidence proving he drove the car on this night, as even this interview with 100K Track did with DJ Academics feels very strange after hearing that note.
He built a real great solid team away from just being innocent, because he wouldn't do such a crime. He prepared himself and got a proper, defense. Their job is to handle their stuff in trial, not on social media. You guys are taking it that way. If they say they got DNA in a car, I'm just gonna tell you, Melly DNA was found in the car. You're gonna think, yeah, his DNA was found in the car the day of the. Oh, he jumped in a car and his DNA was in the car. He did it, okay? But you're not gonna put the fact that this was his car for 6-7 months on those documents and dockets and just automatically be like, yo, he's fried. You don't even know what the defense is. You don't even know what the rebuttal is. You don't even know why that situation occurred. You hear ballistics flying, you don't know what the defense is. You hear this, you hear that. You get what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be honest.
As yes, YNW Melly has extremely good defenses on his side. However, his defenses make YNW Bortland look extremely guilty. Beginning with the no firearm being found in his case, when this was revealed inside a trial, YNW Melly gave a very smirky reaction.
Why not?
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what was used.
Okay. Do you have
including the testimony from YNW Melly's 6th grade best friend, Adrian Davis, as Davis would reveal that YNW Melly wasn't even at the crime scene, which then leaves YNW Bortland at the scene in people's eyes all by himself with Sack Chaser and Juvie.
Are you 100% sure that Melly got into the red Mitsubishi to go home?
Yes.
Are you 100% sure that this young man learned of his friends at the exact same time you learned of it?
Yes.
And that was at the house?
Yes.
Are you 100% sure that when people were getting on the phone, that this young man was looking for his phone to call people?
Yes.
Davis would then even double down his claims of Melly not being there, sharing that Melly was picked up by the YNW members that were driving in the red vehicle, as they needed somebody with a set of house keys to allow them into the YNW crib. However, there's only 2 sets of house keys, one belonging to Melly, one belonging to Bortland. And if they both left the recording studio at the same time, the way Adrian Davis phrases this seems as if YNW Bortland was never even planning on going home.
Okay, so the only 2 people you know who had a key to the house was this young man.
Yes.
And Cortland Henry.
Yes.
Did you see this young man unlock the door of the house?
Yes.
Who was the last person to get out of the red Mitsubishi to go inside the house?
Trayvon. He was in the cot still asleep.
Did you see where Melly went?
To his room.
And where was his bedroom?
When you first walked in the house, it can't miss it. It's right down the left.
Okay. This is a 1 or 2 story house?
2.
As Davis claims that he saw YNW Melly walk to the front door, open the door, then go to his bedroom to go to sleep. Then while sleeping for roughly an hour or 2, members in the YNW crib would begin screaming, yelling for everyone to wake up, as they were just learning what happened to Sack Chaser and Juvie. The only 3 people not at the YNW crib was Bortland, Sack Chaser, and Juvie.
Did there come a time in the early morning hours that you were woken up and heard some distressing news?
Yes.
What did you hear?
That second Julie was shot.
When you heard that, did you see Melly in the house?
Yes.
Did you see Melly how he was dressed in the house?
Yes.
What was he wearing?
Shorts and a t-shirt, I think.